Hey everyone, so today I want to talk to you about Turn Back Time the Family, and when I saw this was in the television magazine last week advertising it for this week, I squealed a little bit. If you've been subscribed to me for a long time or if you've backlogged some of my videos, you'll know that I was completely in love with Turn Back Time the High Street, which is actually a couple of years ago now, maybe 2 at a push. I was completely in love with it, and when I heard they were doing Turn Back Time the Family, I thought that is going to be fantastic. So I've watched the first episode. To the date of this video, only the first episode has aired. I won't do a video after every episode, but if my opinion changes, which it won't, I'm sure I'll do a kind of sum up video once it's finished. For those of you who haven't seen Turn Back Time the High Street, basically that was taking various different families and making them work in various shops and businesses throughout different periods in the last century. And this one is basically the same concept, taking 3 families, the Taylors, the Meadows and the Goldings, got them written down, and putting them in different class systems of houses and making their family unit different for each one. So for example, this first episode, it was the Edwardian era in the 1910s, and each different family had a different house. They had their own house to live in, of course, and you had 3 different classes: your working class, your middle class and your upper class. And that in itself is fantastic because you get to see how each different family unit has to, what they have to cope with, and it's kind of not really surprising. If you, I love history, I read a lot of history books and things like that. If you know a little bit about how family life worked back then, it's not completely surprising. But I think if you literally go in blind, you'll be quite surprised at 1 or 2 things of what they have to cope with. There were some things which I thought, really? So that's quite a hard to deal with, to be honest. It's quite emotional. I did cry on several occasions. Some of the family members do cry as well, and it really is a very emotional show, and because it's based on truth, it makes it all the more emotional. Now what makes this just a cut above every other show in the world, basically, is the fact that the families aren't just thrown into random houses. You know, they're not going to say, this family, we'll put them in this house. They actually put them in a house based on what their ancestors' income and their ancestors' wealth was like from that time, which I think is very intricate and very detailed. And to be honest, the show doesn't have to do that because it doesn't need to do that. It is still fantastic in its own right. But the fact that they actually look at the family's family trees and say, right, well, your ancestors in 1910s were upper class, so we're going to put you in the upper class house. And, you know, your families were working class, we're going to put you in the working class house so you can see what your actual ancestors had to go through. I think makes it all more an emotional journey for the families involved. For us, it doesn't have us as an audience, it doesn't have a massive impact on our viewing because we're still getting to enjoy it the same way. But I think it does make it more emotional for the families involved, and because they get to see where they've came from, you know, and that's kind of what their ancestors had to deal with. And it's very emotional and very, very beautifully done. The fact that the 3 houses have been transformed into just replicas of these homes is phenomenal. And it just looks, you know, visually, it's gorgeous to look at. Very funny. There's one particular scene where I'm not going to spoil it for you, but the father of the working class house, I won't say which family it is because I'll let you watch it to find out, because it's part of the fun of guessing which family's going to get which house. The working class father had to find work on his own, and there's one particular moment where he's doing work for road workers. I'm not sure if that's the correct term. And it's really funny to see the road worker in a bright yellow vest and then the working class father in his attire, because of course the costumes are as they should be as well. Fantastic, absolutely loved it. Presented by Susanna, Reid, which is always a treat. I'm addicted straight away. 2 minutes in, I thought, this is like Turn Back Time the High Street all over again. I was, you know, obsessed with that. Every time it came on, I was like, my life is complete. It is so gorgeous. Each episode is an hour long. I'm not too sure how many episodes there are. I'm sure there was like 5 or 6 of Turn Back Time the High Street. The only annoying thing about this is that I can't any longer refer to Turn Back Time the High Street as just Turn Back Time, as I normally do, because I have to now differentiate between the two. But Turn Back Time the Family is gorgeous. There's not a single thing wrong with it, with the first episode anyway. I'm assuming it will maintain that all the way through. I'm looking forward to seeing how the families progress really, and how we change. Next episode is the 1920s, so that can be, it looks like it's going to be a bumpy ride. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. If you haven't seen it, it's on BBC iPlayer just now. I'm not too sure if it's going to be repeated on television, but I imagine it will be. But it's on BBC iPlayer, so check it out. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!